Ash vs. Evil Dead Episode 9, Bound in the Flesh. This was a really good episode, I think, leading up to the season finale, and it was very surprising. I was wondering, what the heck is going on with Ruby? Ever since she came back to life, it's just like, what in the world is happening? I guess it turns out that Ruby, this entire time, was the creator of the Necronomicon, and I guess the creator was, at one point, a Deadite, and she actually did go by the name Ruby, but, she made up that story to Amanda, because I was trying to figure it out, like, even at the end, I was like, okay, maybe it was actually Ruby in the beginning, and that was a real story where this was, like, the unseen sister in the movies, and then after, the whole death thing happened, it actually ended up being the creator of the Necronomicon. That soul, took over Ruby's body and came back. But that wouldn't really make sense. It was Ruby the whole time as a demon, and the story was just a lie to Amanda. But for whatever reason, Ruby made the Necronomicon, and I would assume it was to help get the Deadites out, because I'm kind of going based on Army of Darkness. When Ash went back in time to defeat the Deadites, that was kind of like, alright, technically the books existed then too, so I don't know, because I was going to say after he defeated them, they kind of were all cast out, so then the creator would, if there was, a soul left to inhabit a body, then they would create the book to have some random person read it, and then that would bring all the Deadites back. But I guess the book existed even in the third movie, so who knows why the Necronomicon was created. But I thought that was really cool, because it still brings up the question as to why Ruby is going against the Deadites, though, because before, that first death, or I guess fake death, the Deadite does say, like, you betrayed us, and I had all these theories and stuff about how she tricked them and said, like, oh, I'm going to, kill Ash and stuff, too, and that was just so that she could, get, leads on where Ash was so that she could get the book. But it does turn out that she was just a Deadite the entire time, or maybe just something different, like maybe just a demon in general, kind of like the one that we kind of dealt with in the, I guess it was like 3 or 4 episodes ago. So it'll be interesting. I don't know how much, explanation we're really going to be getting in this final episode come this weekend, but I'm really looking forward to it. I think this was, as always, a really bloody episode for sure. It feels like forever since I saw the show, and I honestly don't know why. I guess because of the holidays, so I was off for so many days. It was really weird. Like, even without, having to work, Friday felt like Saturday, so it was, really weird. It felt like I haven't seen the show in forever. But, it was just crazy. It was definitely a bloody episode. We saw 2 people get killed, 3 bodies get chopped up. When Amanda came back as the Deadite and she killed those 2 people, the married couple, that was a pretty messed up scene. Because first she basically just rams her hand through the woman, so she's done for right there, we already know. And then she stabs her hand into her brain, basically, and she's just, controlling her like a puppet. Then her husband misses with, like, the flare, and then she just turns him around and just right through the back of his head, and she's just, like, waving him around and stuff. And then Pablo and Kelly are just trying to shoot through the bodies. I was like, it just felt a little messed up. Like, man, they got completely destroyed, and Pablo and Kelly are trying to just shoot straight through them to get to Amanda. It's like, man, that really has to suck for, the other girl. And I can't remember her name. I don't remember any of their names. They do say them in this episode, but I don't know. She might actually join the cast in season 2. That might be why she was kind of the one left alive. She might survive in the next episode, and they might have already decided, at least if they get a season 2, which I like to think they will, that this would be a character, since she's really been thrown into it. Because I was thinking about her character a lot this episode. Like, holy crap. Like, she's all messed up. Like, they run into the Deadites. She sees her friends. I believe, because they mention, Kelly mentions that she's like, she says, like, oh, Pablo's just worried about the little sister. So I don't think I picked up on that in the last episode, that she was related to one of them. But she sees these people that she knows and cares about just get killed in front of her. She gets her leg broken, and she's just in there, and it's like, hey, cut the face off this demon book, and all this crazy stuff starts happening. I was like, what's going to happen with her character? Because there's got to be a ton of stuff going through your head when you started off, you're just walking through the forest and you're lost at night, and then this type of stuff happens, and it's just like, where mentally, where do you go from there? So I'm kind of looking forward to see what they do with her in this next episode, and if they do decide to keep it going. They did a lot of suspenseful, really quick shots for the trailer for the finale, and I like that because it just seemed really nuts. We have Pablo, who's like in the demon version of the mask, which I thought was also kind of interesting because when the front of the Necronomicon does attach to his face, it's also kind of a dark greenish brown. I was like, it definitely makes me think of the mask with Jim Carrey, but obviously an insanely evil version. And in the preview, he had like blood coming down from his mouth, like he was eating something. He was probably just like a rat or whatever. But then they had a part with Kelly where there was like some little, it seemed like it was a kid or something like that, and they were basically just all skin and stuff. So I don't know what's going on, if they're going to be hallucinations or just flat out demons brought back. um who knows what's going to happen with Ruby. I still, I'm trying to figure out what in the world's going to happen with her. And then we have, of course, Ash and the girl with the broken leg. Like, once again, they said her name. They even said it in the trailer, and I can't remember her name. But it should be very exciting. It'll be very interesting. And technically, we still have Amanda out there because she didn't get killed off. At least the Deadite version wasn't destroyed in this episode. She was about to be by Ruby, and then the girl, looked at her leg and she freaked out. And then Amanda took off. So Amanda is still out there, and they could easily bring her in for the last episode as yet another obstacle because they technically didn't take care of her. And maybe that's something they're saving as sort of a lead for season 2. If she doesn't show up in the next episode, I think that'll be something that they're going to focus on in season 2, where it's like we have, of course, all the Deadites, but we have an attachment to this one because it's Amanda. So depending on whether or not she shows up in the next episode, that'll kind of give us our clue as to whether or not they're kind of saving her for season 2, which would be very interesting because technically it would still have, the actress, but it wouldn't be Amanda Fisher, and it'd be like, oh, that kind of sucks. But we'll have to wait and see if she shows up again in the finale. And if not, I think that'll basically be the reason. Like, well, she doesn't need to show up here because they have all of this stuff happening, and then come season 2, it's like boom, she knows, she's gotten personal time with the team, so it's like, okay, she's learned this and she's learned that, and so now the Deadites have all of that information. So who knows? We'll see what happens with her character, the Deadite version of her character now. But I thought it was kind of cool. It was interesting. Like, I thought for sure that was going to be a big issue, and then they'd have to kill her, and she ends up escaping, and she's nowhere to be seen after she takes off. So looking forward to what they do with that. Can't wait to see what answers we get from Ruby and why she made the Necronomicon. Why that turned her into an enemy of the Deadites, because I think that's my biggest question, because generally it's kind of like you just think demons and stuff, but there's got to be something there. I mean, you can summon demons from the book, which we've seen this season. Basically, in general, it brings out, the Deadites. And then she is the creator. It was still confusing at the end, because it's like, okay, well, she made it. We know that it brings the Deadites out, but by the end, it's like, is her goal to bring the full force of the Deadite issue? Or, what's going to happen? Because she easily could have killed them all, and I would assume that she wouldn't have died, considering the whole explosion thing, and she came back to life. So, it kind of brings up a question. Maybe we'll get to see that, but generally speaking, considering, when someone survives an explosion, I wouldn't expect them to have any trouble with with an assault rifle and a magnum or something. And she could have, killed Ash during that scene if that's what she really wanted to do, and just pulled the trigger, killed him, and then turned around, possibly with super strength, because she did like a crazy jump flip out of the forest. She was like up in the trees and drops down on Amanda. So I'm assuming there's super strength and whatnot going on there. So it brings up an interesting question, like, was she actually trying to bring the full force of the Deadites down on them? I definitely had a really big reminder of the second movie, because I thought for sure when she was reading that she was going to say, because once things were getting weird, they're like, this isn't right. I thought for sure she was going to say we have to summon the demon in its physical form, and then they would totally have Ash say something like, try that before, it definitely doesn't work. So that may still have been the case because I have no idea what spell that was, but it was interesting, and it did cause the book to, or the face of the book at least, to come up and fly towards Pablo. So I don't know exactly what that means, if that was actually her spell and it brings all of the Deadites basically into one physical manifestation, like the entire force and power slash spirit of the Deadites into one body that's, not Pablo, unfortunately. So if that is the case, it kind of brings up what may or may not have to happen to Pablo. I doubt they do that, but I also didn't think they were going to kill Amanda, so I really don't know at this point, and they've, somewhat added another character in there, so who knows how things are really going to play out. But I think this is a really good episode leading to the finale. Definitely a nice little surprise at the end there. And I love how it went off with the most calming music ever. And it's like, things got super crazy. We saw 2 people die, Amanda's come back, and she's gone. Another new person, she has her leg broken. Ash cuts the face off of the Necronomicon, which was talking, like actually talking in this episode, which made me think again back to when they had like the little thing where Pablo's necklace first went towards the book, and it was like a portal and it was actually moving. It made me think like, wow, this is another one of those moments where they do a lot of sort of animation for the book, and it's really living, and it's not just the book with the creepy face on it, bound in skin and written in blood. It's actually talking to Ash and stuff. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then he's cutting it off. That I thought was a really great practical effect as well, where they made the book. They made it thick and filled it underneath with blood, so it's actually got blood coming up when he's cutting the face off. That was actually very cool. And then when he peeled it, it was actually super gross. I was like, that's really nasty. But just as a practical effect, I was like, that's actually really, really sweet. And he's actually cutting around it. And I believe that it may have been CG for the book talking during those scenes. But him actually cutting the book, I was like, that's actually a really cool practical effect. And then he, peels it off and it's just like tosses it. And I was like, that was kind of gross, but definitely a great effect. And it's actually got blood, still underneath it, of course. I was like, that's actually a really great effect. Like, just I think this is probably my favorite practical effect that they've done the whole season. And it's such a minor thing, but it's like, man, it just seems so cool to me compared to a lot of the other stuff, which tons of crazy practical stuff this whole season, and for whatever reasons, like, man, he cut the face off of the book and there was actually blood underneath. That like blew my mind for some reason. I don't know why, but I just thought it was really cool when I saw that happening. But I definitely enjoyed this episode. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. Of course, with the season finale coming up this weekend, I want to know your guesses for what's going to take place. And I guess the other big thing, or the main question really, is what in the world is gonna, going on with Ruby's character? Like, now that we know she wrote the book, why is this her mission, to get it back? Like, after all this time, I mean, I guess she does mention that she was basically looking for him the whole time, but why does she need the Necronomicon back? And what spell, basically, was she trying to really do? Because at this point, I have no idea. It's like, either it really is her manifesting all of the Deadite spirits into the face, and then once it connects to someone, it's in them, or it's something totally different. That's like the only guess I really have. Because they didn't put it in there, I don't think it's like the physical manifestation thing again, which I guess technically if the mask possesses someone, that still counts as the physical manifestation thing, but not like it was obviously in the second film. But I don't know. It's very interesting. I think I just realized when Ash mentioned that he knew what the blade was. I don't believe it is, but I guess that's supposed to be the blade from the second movie. I never thought of that when they first mentioned it. I thought it was something brand new, but I guess it's because in the movie I remember it looking like it was basically like a spine or something, and it had a blade sticking out of like some spine or something. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was that blade, because he was like, I know what it is. And maybe there was another scene. I think it may have just been this season where they mentioned it in another episode where they were looking through the book. So I think that was how he knew what it was. I don't think it's the same blade, but um, they tried that before and things didn't really work out too well. Where they have a blade like this can take out the Deadites, and then that woman died at the end of the second movie, which I still remember blew my mind. I was like, holy crap, they killed her, and then poof, he's back in time. So doubt we'll have that happening again. But it seems like it's gonna get really crazy for this finale. Like all the different clips and stuff, like I said, Pablo with like blood coming out of his mouth, Kelly going up against some random child demon spirit thingy or whatever. There's another scene where it seemed like she had like water poured on her and her hair was like sticking to her face. So don't know what the deal was with that because they're obviously in the cabin. So I don't know what's happening where there's all this water out of nowhere. Maybe in the basement. I assume there's like a well if they do it that way. But I don't know what to expect really for this finale. But it seems like it's gonna go all out. I would love for it to be an hour-long finale. I'm sure it's still just going to be the half hour, but it seems like they're packing a lot into it, and we'll see how they end. I'm very curious if they're going to end it on like a cliffhanger, or if it's going to end like if the show doesn't get a second season, that the season finale could be a set series finale as well if it got canceled. But with it being Ash versus Evil Dead, I like to think it's going to get a season 2, and I really hope it does because I love the show. I think every episode's been really fun. And we're at the cabin and it's just been one crazy episode. Last one was kind of sad because we lost Amanda. And then this one just was the crazy one. And then, crazy reveal at the end. And then just craziness, who knows, for the finale. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, though, I want to know what you guys think. So please comment below, let me know. And thanks.